Hello and welcome to the Alabama Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harrison. I'm joined with my special guest host from the Laker Now, from the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast. We got Big Baby Jonathan. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a while, man. Hope all is well.
And it's been so long. I've been trying to, just suck everything up, trying to really just dissect these games and not trying to jinx the Lakers because this is critical, championship, the year Kobe passed and, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, I'm just really trying to, make sure that we, secure this 17 championship banner and that we're in the right frame of mind as fans and we don't get too ahead of ourselves. We up 2 games. We got game 3 tonight. So today we're meeting to kind of break down the keys to victory. So if you want to break down the keys to victory, and we kind of start from there, and then we'll kind of get into some of the injuries that may be impacting the Heat tonight.
The keys to the game tonight: play passion, also great grinding. When you get up 15 or 20, please don't let up. Don't let them back in the game. I know we were up 32 game one. They kept it to like 7 or 8, and then we barely won game 1, and then game 2. Same thing. Come on, man. I don't want Lakers to play lackadaisical. I want us to execute both ends of the floor and just dominate and take over and stop turning the ball over, make free throws, and get out in transition.
So there's going to be some key injuries to the Heat tonight. You know the impact of Bam Adebayo. You know what he means to that franchise. Then no Dragic. You think the Lakers have an easy path tonight, or do you think it's going to be a grit and grind game with their shooters? Are they going to get behind their shooters, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero? So what do you expect from the Heat tonight, and what is going to be the key for the Lakers to be able to combat that 3-point shooting because they can shoot?
It's going to be a tough battle tonight. Anytime in NBA Finals, any team in NBA Finals that plays the Lakers, they play their best. And I remember we're up 2-0 versus Orlando. Same thing, game 3, and then we made mistakes. Won game 4, won championship, but we can't let Miami get any confidence as far as the 3-point line. Force them to drive. If you get beat, let Dwight, AD help you on that back end, even LeBron block shots, and just contain Jimmy Butler because he get exposed for 30. He did that last game, and I just want to see Lakers play with that championship defense that we're normally seeing. And this Laker team is really locked in. They're not celebrating. Dwight's not celebrating LeBron, AD. They're all laser focused. So I expect the Lakers to come out and dominate early. But if they struggle for the first couple minutes, I expect them to. After that first time, I noticed when the Lakers do that, when they're struggling, that first time out, okay, now let's turn up.
Yeah, they kind of have you. It's kind of like from tip off, you can kind of tell exactly what the Lakers' mentality is and what they're going to prioritize. In the first couple quarters, game 1 kind of showed me some things when we started off really slow. Then we started getting hot behind 3-point shooting. You had KCP, he hit a key bucket. Then you had Danny Green hit a key bucket, and then the game was busted wide open. But then you have the end of part of game 1, where you had Kendrick Nunn. He got off, where he scored 18 total baskets in garbage time. But then I thought, game 2 they may have found something to be able to help them get over or to keep themselves in the game behind Kendrick Nunn. Maybe they found something off the bench, but the non-factor. The last game they did keep it interesting, even though AD went completely off. They still really kind of kept themselves close in the game, and they only won the game by 10 points. Miami is here for a reason. They made the NBA Finals. They knocked off Giannis. They beat Indiana. They beat Boston. This team is legit. This team can catch fire behind a 3-point line. Make no mistake about that. So we cannot think that we have a championship in hand just because we're up 2 games. We still need to focus on the task at hand. We got 2 more games, with 1 being tonight, and hopefully we can wrap this thing up on Tuesday with a clean sweep and we get that 17 championship banner. And you're going to have to update that banner behind you too.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. this game is a trap game, you know, to me, because I feel like the Lakers are up 2-0. Sometimes, remember when we went up 2-0 against Denver, and then we, oh, it's over, we're gonna sweep, and then we got punched in the mouth, and then
Yep.
oh, we got punched in the mouth. Now let's go adjust and turn up. So I feel like Lakers need to stay laser focused, execute on both ends of the floor, force turnovers, and I just want to see this Lakers team play as a team, which we normally do. I just want to see us, block shots, run the floor. I want to see LeBron do that look that he always be doing. I want to see AD talk and miss because AD was talking when in game one we went up like 30 points. He was talking to Miami. He said it was over. He was like, it's over. I want to just see Lakers just talking. I want to see Lakers be competitive. Not too crazy because I know Dwight was like talking and got in trouble with the refs and that last series. Remember how Dwight was all getting juiced and all that talking to Nikola Jokic? I want that level of talking mess, but not to where you get a technical foul and get almost thrown out. You know what I mean?
Right. The Lakers are too long, offensively and defensively, and it's almost like it's almost impossible for the Heat to score points. Dealing with that three-headed the Lakers have. They're not playing JaVale McGee as much. You see Dwight got the start. They're doing some different things with the rotation. Playoff Rondo is a thing. He's taking his 3-point average from the bottom of the barrel to about 40%. He's hitting about 40% of his 3-pointers, which is crazy. Just to consider how awful he's been career wise from the 3-point line. I remember certain series back in when he was making the playoffs with Boston and other teams, they would almost dare Rondo to shoot, and he's making them pay. You're gonna have to hug up on that 3-point shot now. He's getting a little legit back there. We still haven't seen a real big breakout finals game from Danny Green. We know he's capable of doing it. Danny Green's a shooter. He sometimes with some of the looks that he has, they should be going in. But he's not the same player anymore. He's not that 3-and-D guy that San Antonio had, and not even when he was with Toronto. I still like for him to, if he's open, I still like my chances with him taking those shots, but he's got to hit those shots. He's got to hit those looks. That's the reason why the Lakers, paying, him $15 million for this season, for his defensive prowess, for his ability to knock down clutch threes. We need that right now, and we need as much aggression, offensively as possible. We still need to be stifling on defense. We're really, really doing well with that Miami zone. A lot of teams have struggled with that zone, but the zone really doesn't make any sense. Spo is going to have to adjust because it's been exposed. You got AD at the 3-point line. You got perimeter shooters out there. It's really difficult for you to run that zone. And you have the ball being spread out. Like, they're gonna have to come out of it. They're gonna have to really, really, analyze this game and see exactly what they need to adjust. I hate when coaches, get hit in the mouth like that and not adjust the game. We know this is what you do, but this is you're running the risk of this game getting out of hand quick because the Lakers are good offensively. The Lakers are good defensively, and you don't have any answers for Anthony Davis. What are your thoughts on that? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was my fault. About what you were saying, I agree 100%. I noticed the thing that I noticed about AD's game, he needs to improve on. When they double team him, he forces a turnover, but all in all, he's playing good. And yeah, that zone, I thought that was going to, when Miami was throwing that zone at us, I'm like, okay, we're going to be shooting a lot of threes. Then LeBron figured it out within that 12 minutes of that first quarter in the game one. And AD and LeBron have been turning it up ever since. Kuzma's been stepping up there, to Caruso, Morris. Everybody's just stepping up and they're figuring it out with that zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shout out to the coaching staff. They're still, consulting with Lionel Hollins, even though he's not in the bubble, due to his age and they didn't want to risk it out there. You have an all-star bench over there. You got, Rondo, benefiting from the great Jason Kidd over there. He's really been working with Rondo. You got the great Phil Handy over there. You got Frank Vogel. This team is really from top to bottom. Really has really raised a lot of eyebrows, and I've heard a lot of people hate. Talking about this championship has an asterisk. This championship is not going to count. Man, this is a championship that the Lakers have been, for the Lakers to win just because due to what happened with Kobe and things like that. The Lakers had the same path to the championship. Else had a shot at the championship just like anybody else, and now all of a sudden we're in prime to win the title. You heard excuses, you heard all the things that people are saying about the Lakers are not legit. This championship is legit. Everybody had an opportunity at the beginning of the season. Everybody was impacted by COVID, and everybody had the same rest and had the same time off. But the Lakers are the only team that bought into the bubble. The Lakers are the only team that never really, got caught up with, we're in the bubble and this and this and that. It actually improved their chemistry, improved their camaraderie. You can tell that they're playing for each other. You can tell they play as a team. You got your stars, Anthony Davis and LeBron, but like LeBron said the other day in response to Kyrie Irving, we're not jealous of each other. Maybe one day I might be off. AD, I need you to, carry us home. LeBron initiates the offense. AD closes. I don't want to hear anything else about AD don't have that dog in him, because AD had just turned in front of our eyes the big dog.
Yeah, 100%, man. AD's. I remember you're right. I remember when we first got the 8-game schedule and we're struggling, and I said on one of my podcasts, maybe the Lakers are going through this for a reason. Maybe it's gonna help us, and it actually did help. We're going through those stretches of winning games, losing games, struggling, and we figured it out, and we did buy into the bubble. I know the Clippers gave up 3-1, and then they checked out because I remember with the whole boycott thing, they're the ones that voted not to come back and all that. Ever since that too, they checked out, in my opinion, and all that stuff. And the Lakers bought in from day one for the whole training camp. Frank Vogel did a tremendous job, and and the media's looking for the receipts now to make excuses. And everybody picked Denver to win a championship. Everybody picked the Clippers. Everybody picked Milwaukee. Everybody picked these teams to beat the Lakers. And I saw somebody on ESPN. I have to go bring it up. I'll post it on Instagram once we win the championship. They didn't even have the Lakers making the playoffs. They didn't even have to make the playoffs. It's like, come on now. It's like, we're buying in, and I love what we're doing. And shout out to the ownership for turning this team around. Kudos goes to Jeannie Buss for staying patient. Staying patient, having faith, like I've always been preaching when we had Alonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, all the young assets, and sure enough, we're 2 wins away from a championship. So let's go.
As a Laker fan, we've had our ups and downs. We've had, many times where we, really just start scratching our head, like, what is, ownership doing? What are they doing? Mitch Kupchak and Jeannie Buss's brother,
Jim Buss.
Really was running the organization in the ground. Really, making questionable moves. And I'm glad that I was really skeptical because I never really seen Jeannie. As close as I've been to this team, I never seen her in the day-to-day operation. It's always been, her dad. Shout out to the late great Jerry Buss. And then it transitioned after that when he passed away. Jim Buss took over. It was Mitch Kupchak. But she came in and pretty much fired her brother, fired Mitch. We got Rob. Then we got Magic. Magic is not really that type of, wasn't a good fit for us. He's good as that, that ambassador, that advocate. We know that he's Laker Nation. But in that role, we need someone that, that specializes in that. Magic was not a good fit. Shout out to him for getting LeBron James. But after that, he did some questionable things. He's the reason why we don't have Lou Will no more. He's the reason why we don't have Zubats no more. He's the reason why we don't have Brooke Lopez anymore. Like, I can keep going on by the bad, terrible moves that, They drafted Lonzo Ball, and we could have got Jason Tatum. I don't understand, some of the moves that we made under Magic, but we're finally on the upswing of things. Missing the playoffs as long as we have, not championship. This is a storied franchise. We're ranked number 2 in NBA history in championships. We are used to competing for championships. We're not used to not making the playoffs. Even when we got LeBron last year, we missed the playoffs. And I watched the last game last year. We played against the Brooklyn Nets. I was at a restaurant and I was watching that last game, and I was like, another year, another year. And then this summer happened. We finally made the trade for Anthony Davis, mortgaged our whole entire future. We were all in. And I said, if we don't win a championship, from this, I don't know where we go from this. I like the moves that we put around. Once we figured out that we didn't get the Kawhi deal, and he signed with the Clippers, then we signed Danny Green. We re-signed Rondo. We re-signed JaVale McGee. We ended up getting some great pieces, in a very, clutch situation. Because all the good free agents, all the ones that we were looking at, like your D'Angelo Russells, we could have got him. Golden State ended up snagging him. And, I was trying to figure out what are we going to put together, because we still don't have a full roster. We still didn't have to get a third guy out of that. Maybe, after we win the championship, we can probably lure somebody that's on an expiring contract. Maybe get, strengthen up the bench a little bit, just because we have that championship leverage and we're contending. Because Golden State's going to be back. There ain't no mistake about it. They're going to be back. They're going to try to, trade that second pick that they got in the draft for another All-Star. So we're going to have to deal with that again. You got Steph healthy. You got Draymond Green. He's going to be healthy. Klay Thompson, he's going to be back. So they took a year off. They're looking at what we're doing. So we need to make some moves. Don't just sit here and just, we got to the championship. Hopefully we win the championship. But it's no time to rest. We need to be thinking about what's coming down the pipe. Teams are going to get better. The West is stacked. We really need to make sure that we don't botch this offseason, because there's a lot of names out there I'm hearing. And we need to make, the best sound decision for our team moving forward for the future. First and foremost, we need to re-sign AD. Haven't really got a commitment out of him yet, and I'm thinking we have to possibly win this championship before we know that he's going to re-sign. Because I've been hearing some things before this, playoff run, that he was not completely bought into re-signing. He's still a free agent after this year. How do you feel about that?
I think AD's going to resign, man. Why would he, I understand. I agree with all you said. But if AD leaves, man, that means he cares about the money. He cares about going to start his own team. But you're playing with LeBron James, story franchise. I have a feeling it's a wink, wink. We're going to resign you, shake. Just don't say anything until it's official. I feel like they already signed on dotted lines behind the scenes or whatever. Once you can sign free agents. I bet you AD's going to resign. And, as far as the talent that we have, I love it. I know we didn't get Kawhi. I know we let Boogie go. You know what I mean? We got Dwight Howard on a non-guaranteed contract, man, and that was a good pickup. Really good pickup. At the time, a lot of Laker fans were like, I don't like that pick. I don't like it. I was like, well, give it a chance, man. Dwight's gonna show out, and he did tweet a couple years ago that he's gonna make it up to us. And sure enough, he did. Job ain't done yet, but shout out to Dwight, man, for coming back and dominating like old school Dwight.
I was gonna ask you, what are you thinking about how you think he's looking, man? He looked like defensive player of the year, Dwight Howard. He's blocking shots. He's just doing his job. Mm-hmm. He's doing his job. I love what he did on Jokic, man. He did his job, and he did it well. He did some couple, what are you doing, Dwight plays? What's going on? Pull him out. He's doing stupid stuff, but when the rubber needed to meet the road and we needed him to lock in, man, he's just as good as any big out there. You know, shout out to Rob Pelinka and that Lakers organization for having the fortitude to go out there and sign Dwight, because if you look, man, like the last team that he was on after he got traded from Charlotte, I forgot who it was that he got traded to. He got traded from Memphis. They didn't want no parts of Dwight. They basically said no. They didn't. We signed him, but he's not going to play. And we picked him up. We're going to offer you this non-guaranteed contract. AD had a meeting with him. LeBron had a meeting with him. And he accepted it. And it's the lowest point that you can be at, in the NBA. We're talking about a defensive player of the year. We're talking about one of the most dominant big men in his era at one point. And you've been bouncing around from team to team. And you make your way back to the Los Angeles Lakers, competing for a championship, and you're 2 games away. Ironically, in Orlando, where it all started for you. Like, you can't get you can't make it no better than that. It seems like it's scripted. Like, you back with the Lakers and you win a title in Orlando.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Dwight, man, put in the hard work, dedication, since he got here. Love his energy, his hustle, and I made a video about why I think Dwight should start the rest of the playoffs, and he brings his hustle, his grit, his grind. And let me ask you this, Corey: when he was the Lakers the first time and he left, how did you feel about Dwight on the Lakers the first time?
Play wise, I feel like the Hollywood lights, he was not mature to play with Kobe. Because Kobe, when you pair another superstar with Kobe, you expect it to win. There is no reason why that roster shouldn't have, at least been in the finals. You had Steve Nash, you had Metal World Peace, you had Paul Gasol, you got Dwight. Why didn't we win a championship? We weren't on the same page. And then, I don't know if you remember that first game back, we had a billboard for Dwight for him to re-sign. There was a billboard in LA, please re-sign. Like, we almost begged him to re-sign, and he went to Houston. And that first game back, it was Julius Randle's first game. He ended up getting hurt, out for the season. And then him and Kobe had a little dust up, and he called him soft. And at that point, Laker Nation pretty much, Dwight, you're not welcome back no more. Like, you'll never wear this uniform again. And for us to, we had our backs against the wall. We ain't had no choice. Wasn't no other big out there. We just lost Boogie. And Dwight sitting out there. Let's see what we can do. Kobe endorsed it. That's the only reason why a lot of us got behind that decision, because some of us was on the fence, was like, man, nah, we shouldn't do this. He screwed us over, and we're very unforgiving. But the number one thing that cures all, winning. We got the number 1 seed. Dwight turned the hands back on the clock, and we were Showtime again. We were box office again. We're competing for a championship, and we don't even talk about Dwight and what happened before. We talk about him in good context. He turned down a deal where he could have his own shoe just to wear his Kobe's. Dwight's all right with me. He's forgiven in my book.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I forgave him too. Like, at the end of the day, it's competitive basketball, and with that situation happened, and I'm over it, and I'm glad he's a Laker again. And he's a great person. He's been through a lot, and he's gonna, if he wins this championship, 2 more wins, I want him to talk all the mess to the media that bashed him and everybody that bashed him around the league. I want Dwight to talk mess to everybody that doubted him, to the media. But if
He deserves
hopefully,
this championship, man.
yeah,
He worked his butt off to get back after that injury that could have ended him. That like he had a really bad injury. He had back injury. Then he had some kind of this story that I don't think it was true. I don't even want to repeat it.
yeah,
You
I know
know,
which story you're talking about too, man.
yeah, I'm not on the air. We'll talk
No,
about some other time, but he's been through a lot. The media's drug him, and I just want him to finally have this redemption and cap off everything that's been going on with him and just win this title.
yeah, 100%. And the player that we looked at besides Dwight was Joakim Noah.
You see what happened with him. I mean, the Clippers. Let's talk about the Clippers organization. They fired Doc Rivers,
Oh,
and I don't know where they go from here. You know, I don't know where they go from. Do you go Ty Lue? Do you go Sam Cassell? I think that was a really knee jerk decision, but somebody had to pay the price for what happened to them. And unfortunately, Doc is the head coach. He oversees the operation. He's the one that signed off on that deal for them to bring in Paul George and them to send all those draft picks to Oklahoma City. And when you do something like that and you have an owner that's worth $70 billion, it's kind of hard to understand that out of all this we done gave up, out of all this stuff, because I don't know anything about basketball, the operation. Like, I'm a computer guy, and I've mortgaged all this stuff where Paul George and Kawhi could leave next year, and I don't have nothing. I don't have no leverage. I don't have anything. And you're the one that told me I need to make this deal because in order for me to get Kawhi, I have to sign Paul George. In order for me to get Paul George, I have to make sure that Oklahoma City favors this deal. If they do not favor this deal, they say no, because if you remember, Paul George had just signed a contract the previous year. He was in the first year of that contract, and then all of a sudden they got the trade done, but they sent all their draft picks all the way up to 2026. Like, who does that? And then they have a player option where they can opt out of the contract after next season. Doc had to go, but I hate it. I don't think he's really going to be a good fit for Philadelphia because they're going to have to figure out why Ben Simmons can't shoot, and they're going to have to find out why Joel Embiid can't play 82 games.
what the Clippers should go do, man? In my opinion, I feel like they should. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I'm gonna say it. Why don't they give Kenny Smith a shot? Kenny Smith is a great mind for basketball. He should deserve a shot too. What you think?
I don't know if Kenny ever expressed any interest in coaching. I think he might be leaving TNT. I did hear something about him possibly leaving TNT, and he has a deal going on with something. I have to look it up. I can't remember what it was, but I think this is his last season with TNT. But I think he has. If they do anything, I think they should at least try to entertain offers with Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson would be a good fit because I just don't understand why he never got another shot. He should have got at least another shot.
Yeah, he should have, man. But we'll see what Steve Ballmer does. But I would not be surprised if the Clippers gave Mike D'Antoni a shot, at least for an interview. Would not be surprised.
The Clippers?
Yeah, would not be surprised. Clippers do Clipper things, so I wouldn't be surprised if they end up hiring him too. So
I don't know. D'Antoni, I don't know.
you don't think?
I want to see Ty Lue in New Orleans
Yeah.
because David Griffin's over there, and I think that he does good. He's going to be good with young guys with low expectations. Because I didn't really like Gentry as the head coach with New Orleans. I didn't really like that just because of what kind of team they had. But I think he's either going to be I think Gentry is going to be end up on Doc's staff though. I heard with Philadelphia. That should be interesting, but they're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to trade Ben Simmons and try to get something back for that second pick, possibly. But then you're gonna enter into a rebuild, and Doc doesn't like rebuilds.
Yeah, he don't. But I did see a report that they were going to trade Ben Simmons for the number one pick and get LaMelo Ball, Philly.
Yeah,
I saw that, and if they do that, that means they're investing all their attention to Joel Embiid. You know.
I don't. I mean, I like Joel Embiid, but I don't think that he should. I don't think that you can count on him, to be your franchise leader. Maybe that's why they're getting Doc. Maybe Doc can finally, instill that in him. But right now, I just don't see it. His career hasn't really panned out the way it should, and I don't know if he takes, winning basketball seriously.
Yeah, I feel like he don't, man, and that's a crazy situation in Philly, and Kawhi should be held accountable too for blowing a 3-1 lead. You know.
Most definitely, most definitely. And if that would have been LeBron James, what do you think the narrative would have been if that was LeBron?
I've been criticizing him, talking about him, and I would have kept it real. And Skip Bayless would have a field day with that.
They would have killed LeBron, bro, and you know it. You know it. And they want to put Kawhi in the same breath as LeBron. I can't do that, and you don't have a regular season MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even going to be in the discussion for regular season MVP because you like to load manage.
Yeah, and he should be held accountable. The Clippers should be held accountable, and here's what they did. Up 3-1 against Denver. Oh, we got the Lakers. We're going to focus on them. We don't care about Denver. We got this. We're going to West Conference Finals, and then boom! Oh, we're out of the playoffs. They weren't that championship level focused,
Honestly, between me and you, on the record, if they would have got the Lakers, do you think they would have beat the Lakers?
No. This Laker team in the bubble was dominant, and nobody would have guarded Anthony Davis. And there was the bubble stuff with Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell leaving due to one of his family members. I think somebody in his family passed away, or friend or family passed away.
I think his grandmother.
Oh, yeah, his grandma passed away. And all that stuff wasn't focused. Lou Williams with the whole thing. What was it? Where did he go again?
He went to Magic City and got some wings.
Yeah.
That's why they call him Lemon Pepper Lou.
Yeah, I think they just weren't. They just didn't care in the bubble. Doc Rivers didn't get that team focused once they got to the bubble.
I think once they they didn't have an answer for Nikola Jokic, man. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't have enough size. I don't know why they didn't play Zubac, because if you remember, Zubac would have matched up perfectly with Jokic, but they kept giving Montrez some more minutes, and I didn't understand that. And he was still trying to battle back, trying to get into basketball shape, and he was just way too undersized. You got somebody that's 6'7", trying to bang with somebody that's 7'3". What do you expect to happen? He was giving up too much height. Jokic could just take the shot, and he shoots right over his head. The same thing when the Clippers had the Mavs, when the Unicorn was shooting over him like that. That's why they was having so many. I feel like the Mavs could have beat them if Kristaps Porzingis wouldn't have got hurt and he didn't get kicked out the game for game 1.
Yeah, most definitely. I remember that game too. It's just like he came in to defend his teammate, got thrown out really, but Clippers choked. They're always going to be the Clippers. They're never going to run out LA. They can get all the superstars they want. They're going to continue to be the Clippers. Always choke. Always do the Clipper things. I'm not surprised. They've done it with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, all these other guys, And to be honest, I feel like, this is my personal opinion, I feel like Kawhi's waiting for LeBron to leave LA, go somewhere else, and then he'll come to the Lakers.
That would be very, very interesting. That would be very interesting. Hypothetically, if that ever happened, would you be a Kawhi?
I wouldn't. He's a Laker. If you're a Laker, you're on my team. Welcome to the team.
That's anybody?
Not not anybody. Like Kawhi, I like Kawhi's a Clipper. It is what it is. But I gotta keep it real. He's a great player, great talent. You know what I mean? But LeBron's way better than Kawhi.
You want to
Easy.
know something? You want to know something? I'm a let out a big secret.
You like Kawhi?
I would no, absolutely not. I can't get with a player that can't play all the games and you're healthy. I just can't get with that load management crap, man. Because I'm from the old school NBA. Like I used to watch like old school NBA, and like guys were out there hurting, hurt, playing through injuries and things like that. I mean, to the point where they couldn't even walk, and I can't get with that load management stuff, man. Like I just cannot get down with that. But LeBron was a player that I always would say if the Lakers ever got him, I was like, I'm done. Because I couldn't stand LeBron like in the East. I just like it was a rivalry. Like they kept on like whenever LeBron got in the league, it was the biggest hype I've ever seen. And I whenever he got out, I was watching some of his high school games. I was in high school myself whenever he got out of high school, and they was airing his games on ESPN too. And as a high school player, in that time, for you to be on ESPN two, and they're televising your games, they expect big things out of you. Then he got
Mm-hmm.
drafted. He was in an all white suit, and they called him the chosen one. And they was comparing him to all the greats already. He hadn't even played a minute of basketball yet, but he had that first game against Sacramento, and he did really well. He really did Doug Christie in. Like I remember that the very first game in 2003. 18 years old, he comes out there, man. He was dunking. I think he had like 20 something points. He still struggled with the line. His shooting was a little bit kind of shaky in that first couple years with Cleveland. But I was like, okay. But then they started making these comparisons. They said he was going to be better than Jordan. They said he was going to be better than Kobe. And I was all like, man, really? And then he really started kind of embracing it. And I was all like, you know what? He's a rival. Like, there's no way I can ever root for this guy because every year my Lakers need to be in position. And it seemed like he was going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to Miami. And I really couldn't stand him when he went to Miami because they formed that big three. And I feel like they was going to wreck the league, doing that. And I was all like, and then I didn't like the decision, when he basically didn't tell anybody where he was signing, had his big press conference, and he's standing, in the middle of the place where they was at, and then he said, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. I'm going to be a Miami Heat. And I was like, you just could have said that. You didn't have to have this big, long, drawn-out, drama-filled press conference, having everybody on the edge of their seat, lingering around with your decision. Just make the damn decision, and we'll live with it. But then, they got hit in the mouth by the Dallas Mavericks. I savored that because, even though the Mavericks got us out that year, they was beating everybody. We was the defending champions that year. And I was looking forward for us to three-peating.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up losing to the Mavericks. And I hated the Mavericks, but I wanted them to beat the damn Heat. Because I was getting tired of, they was hyping this team up. And it was a super team. It was one of the first big super teams after the Celtics formed that big trio. And I didn't like it. I didn't like, guys forming these super teams like that. And so for years, like I resented LeBron James. But it wasn't until when he signed and Kobe said, if you're a fan of me, you're going to accept this. If you're a fan of me, you're not going to gripe and complain about this. Like, he's a Laker. And I endorse it. Kobe signed off on it. I said, okay, I'm going to give this guy a chance. Because I don't want him to, do us like he's done other teams. He'll sign with us. And then you look up, he's playing for another franchise, another team. I just didn't ever see the loyalty and the heart and I thought maybe he was signing for LA because there was so many different things he was into. You know, LA got Hollywood. I didn't really see his basketball focus. He was trying to do Space Jam 2. You know, is he really locked in? Does he really want to win a championship for us? And then after this year, you got Anthony Davis. He shut me up. I was like, all right, let's go. He's finna win the title now. I see him locked in.
Yeah, me too, man. I was the same way about LeBron. I did not like LeBron at all, and I'm gonna keep it real. It was because of the Kobe and LeBron comparison, and I remember one time my brother still a Kobe fan, Laker fan, and he would always just be like, "Oh, LeBron's trolling. LeBron's better. This that." And one time he put on a Cavs jersey to piss me off, and I was on the phone with my friend. I'm like, "Hold on!" I threw my phone and started punching my brother, started socking him, and just like, and he was laughing at that's how much I hate LeBron. I didn't, when he came to LA, I embraced him, but I call him out when he has a bad game. The LeBron fans always like to baby LeBron. Oh, yeah. Remember when he had 0 points in the fourth quarter against Houston?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, he had 20 points and 8 assists. They baby LeBron. They're too scared to call him out when he has a bad game. I call Anthony Davis when he has 0 rebounds. As fans, we have every right. Even if Shaq was on this Laker team, had a bad game, I'll call him out. Even if late great Kobe Bryant was on his team, had a bad game, I'll call him out. You know what I mean? It's like, as fans, we have every right to do that. Us fans got to stop babying these players. If they're having a bad game, call them out, man. That's how I feel. What you think?
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's an entertainment sport industry and things like that. I mean, we have every right to give an opinion, on different players. But when a pantheon great player like Anthony Davis and LeBron James, you know, you if you have bad games, they have to be to a minimum. You can't have consistent bad games. You're expected to do certain things. We gave up a lot for Anthony Davis. LeBron happened to be a free agent. We got him for 4 years. We wasted the first year, and we got this is his second year, so we got 2 more years of LeBron. So, I like our chances moving forward. Hopefully, having someone like LeBron, we can finally, get top free agents, compete for more championships, and return this franchise back to greatness. I want to get your final thoughts on everything, kind of tie up everything, and kind of get your overview of the game tonight, what you expect, and give me a score.
Before final thoughts, they asked LeBron, what do you think about making your 10 straight finals? Doesn't mean bleep if I don't get it done. I gave him that's the attitude I like.
Right.
And he's having that like Kobe Bryant mentality, not like just the mindset of not getting happy yet until we win the championship. He's taking like I noticed he's embracing being a Laker and he's happy to be a Laker. I know sometimes I get on him for small stuff. You see my tweets, you see my Facebook post sometimes. But at the end of the day, he's a Laker, and I'm happy. As far as tonight's game, I expect the Lakers to come out, try to figure out Miami early, then take over. I say the Lakers going to win 124 to 109.
Blowout.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you expect the Lakers to sweep this team?
Yeah, I do. AD, LeBron, we're playing at the highest level. To be honest, Miami looks like a team that just looks like they have no answer for AD and LeBron. It looks like
they look lost.
Yeah, they do look lost. And I said this while I was talking to my cousin and my brother. I was like, Miami hasn't got tested yet. They haven't tested somebody as this Laker team is highest level. Lakers have got tested with Portland, Houston, and Denver. I know Indiana. They swept Indiana. Milwaukee wasn't even a test for Miami. They beat Boston, but they haven't got the real test yet, which is happening right now. So I feel like the Lakers should just come in and just sock them in the face and knock them out.
The Miami Heat really overachieved this year. They gave them like 0 chances of making the finals this year. They're 5th seed in the East, and the East is very weak, watered down. And they did, hats off to them, man. Like, hats off to Pat Riley, hats off to Eric Spoelstra, getting this team to this point. But now it's time to stop faking. It's time to show who you really are. and they're exposed. They got
and
exposed.
and that's due to the great coaching staff and also to LeBron James because LeBron James was with him in Miami. He knows his strengths and his weaknesses, so he's giving us probably little pointers what to do. So I'm glad that LeBron's doing it. Shout out to Rajon Rondo. He's averaging 11 points, shooting 44% from the 3-point line, and 7 assists in the finals, man. And shout out to Rajon Rondo. It's like re-sign him. AD's number one party, then Rondo, and then that's Rondo's a big part of what we do. And you see how when Rondo was out, we kind of struggled with the point guard situation. As soon as he comes
Yeah.
in, now we're playing better.
What did we do with KCP and Danny Green in the offseason?
You're on your way to Washington.
So who we gonna get?
You're gonna get Bradley Beal for KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, and a couple picks for Bradley Beal.
We're gonna get rid of Caruso too?
Yep, I would do it for a player like Bradley Beal. And then we could pick up somebody else to replace Alex Caruso. Because we're one superstar away from creating a big three. There's gonna be players like, okay, Lakers are turning up. Let me go play over there.
You still need a bench.
Yeah, I trust Rob Pelinka. So if we trade Caruso, we're gonna look. We're gonna probably give Horton Tucker a shot next year. Don't be surprised, Horton Tucker.
Do we keep Waiters and JR?
Let JR go. Keep Dion.
JR about to get him a second ring.
According to fans around the NBA, it doesn't count because he didn't perform in the playoffs.
Dang, but he played.
Yeah, you know how certain fans are. Oh, it doesn't count, and some Laker fans don't even want to give Kuzma a ring because he's playing not so well in the finals.
Yeah, but they was on the team. I heard something about Dion Waiters was going to get a ring regardless of who wins.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
You heard about that?
Yeah, he was in Miami the first half of the year, and then so either way, if he doesn't play, but I want him to contribute. But I guess that hamstring that he has, or
I thought it was a groin. It was a groin.
Yeah, it was growing. It feels like it's like torn or something. Cause that was like actually the first round, huh? I think
Yeah, he hasn't played since like the first round. He didn't play at all that Houston series, and he didn't play in Denver. So yeah, that was the first round. That groin, like you seen the groin injury end up when LeBron went down. Like LeBron was Iron Man. He didn't hardly have any kind of significant injuries like that, and he was out 27 games. LeBron has never missed that many games. When you have an injury like that, with you having to move and change directions and things like that, having an injury like that, it really impacts a basketball player with any sport, but really particularly with basketball.
Yeah.
So they're probably basically saying that keep him out. Hopefully we can keep him for next year because I still like Dion Waiters. When he's good to go. I don't think he really got acclimated with us that well, but I do like Dion Waiters. Hopefully we can re-sign Boogie. Hopefully we still got some kind of deal with him. Hopefully we can possibly get to this point again. But I would love to have Boogie and see what he can do. But I feel like if we had Boogie, we wouldn't have got the White.
Yeah. No, I remember that too. But I thought we cut Boogie for Morris, boy.
Yeah, but the only reason why we signed the White was because initially Boogie went down before the season started.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But we had Boogie still on the roster, and then we end up signing Markieff Morris, and we end up having to let Boogie go.
Yeah, and what about Jeremy Grant? Would you want Jeremy Grant from Denver?
I feel like his asking price is going to be a little bit steep because of his in the playoffs. Like he knows that what kind of player he is now, and I think with his play, I think he finally got to the point where other people are going to be bidding for him, and I liked how he defended with LeBron. I mean, it's LeBron. But he did good against LeBron. And so that's going to speak volumes when other teams go looking for him, and that's going to ask that asking price is going to be a little bit higher than we're probably going to be able to do because we signed if we re-sign Anthony Davis, we still got LeBron James on the contract. I don't know what kind of money we have right now, as far as like our assets and things like that. Can we add a third superstar? Because we end up signing a lot of other loose end players, so we're gonna have to really get rid of a lot of people to finally get a third superstar. And I hope it's not people that play significant roles on the bench. For somebody that really don't know our system, really don't understand, playing with two generational talents. Because we're gonna have to ask somebody to take a back seat that probably played meaningful minutes for their last team, and they're gonna have to buy in. Who's gonna do that? That's why Kawhi didn't want to come. He just won a championship and Finals MVP, and then you're asking him to take the back seat between Anthony Davis and LeBron. He didn't want to do it. And you see where he's at right now, Cancun.
But I was gonna say, what about Van Vliet? I know Van Vliet's gonna get a lot of money. Do you think Van Vliet's the type of player? I'm gonna go over to LA, take less money, go to try to win a championship with the Lakers.
Van Vliet might be a good option. I think Siakam, somebody like that.
Yeah,
we just need somebody that can put the ball on the floor and be that third option, because the Lakers they have sometimes Rondo might be the third option. Kuz might come up as a third option. You might see a KCP good game come in. You don't know who the Lakers gonna be as a third option. Night in and night out. And I guess it's the beauty of basketball that any given time anybody on your roster can step up. So, but Big Baby, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a long time. Hopefully, we can get a consistent schedule going on. Maybe we can break down some footballs when basketball is over. Talk about your Charger. Talk about these worthless Cowboys and things like that, and we can kind of cry together. With this NFL season, they're probably gonna shut it down. I don't know what you think about that.
I think they should. And Austin Eckler's out multiple weeks with the knees messed up and his hamstring.
What they gonna do with Tyrod?
Yeah, Justin Herbert, man. Go with I know he hasn't won yet as a starter, but he's doing great things. But the Chargers were up today 24-7 and we choked.
Is Tyrod still injured?
Yeah.
Did they fire the doctor?
I'm not too sure, but it's just an injury hit season for the Chargers, and I'm not surprised because we're the most injury-prone team in NFL history. Every time we get these players, all these high expectations, all injured. So
Phillip Rivers played pretty good with y'all. He had a good season. I mean, good run with y'all. He didn't get hurt that much.
No, he didn't. He just kept choking when we needed a big-time play. He would always throw a pick.
He choked in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs. Lot. Yeah.
A lot.
And if Tom Brady scored 5 touchdowns today, it's like, come on, man. We could have had Tom Brady on our team, but Chargers are the most inconsistent.
I really thought that the Chargers would have gone to try to push for Tom Brady.
But Tom Brady wanted to go to a culture that had a history of winning. Looks at the Chargers. Oh, no history of winning. Let me go to a team that has history of past history of winning. And probably because he'll be closer to family.
Tampa Bay ain't made the playoffs in years, so I don't know. I don't know why he picked them, but they got a lot of weapons.
But the Cowboys, I think they need to give Earl Thomas a call.
We done. Cowboys done, bro. Cowboys done.
Well, Stephen A. Smith is jumping up for joy right now.
That's another person that be getting on my nerves. He getting on my nerves like Skip.
Yeah. I'm looking. Right. If we win tonight, I'm looking forward to what Shannon Sharp's going to do. Is he going to be coming in chill about poise, or is he going to bring in the goat mask?
He got to bring the goat mask. I feel like LeBron's going to have a good game. He's going to have a triple-double.
I agree.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I expect great things tonight. And Tuesday, hopefully we can get that title.
You already know the vibes, man. Thank you, man, for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
All right, man. We'll see you on the next one. Peace. Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.